come in, come in, come in. I am going to be doing a talk for you ladies today on nutrition. So come on in, come on in. I'm Dr. Diana Lake. For those of you who may not know who I am in the group, I'm the creator of Dr. Di Fitness. I'm the creator of this group. I see someone on, say hi, so I know who's here. Chat with me. Be interactive. Okay. But I'm going to be talking to you guys, you ladies this morning about nutrition. I just posted in the group, hey Sharon, good to see you, girlie. I just posted in the group, hey Mercedes. I posted in the group that studies show, and this was in Forbes magazine, that by 80% by the end of February, 80% of people fall off their New Year's resolution for whatever. It could be for fitness, it could be for their finances, it could be for their health in general, it could be for, getting out of debt. Whatever the resolution is, most people by the end of February are falling off, right? 80% is the number, okay, according to Forbes magazine. So I wanted to come on because we're wrapping up this month, right? A lot of us, I don't really do resolutions, but I have goals for every, 8 to 12 weeks that I make, and then I try to hit those and then make new goals. So I chunk them into smaller pieces, right? That's how I do it, and it works for me because it's attainable, it's achievable, it's smaller. And then that's part of it may be part of a bigger goal, but I try to keep it small so it's manageable. Does that make sense? Yeah, so let's see. Sharon says, good morning, girlie. Hey, Tina. Okay, so thanks for showing up, ladies. So this is what we're going to talk about today. All right. First of all, put in the chat if you have a goal that you're working on right now, right? Because some people just kind of go through life, they don't necessarily have a fitness goal. They don't necessarily have a plan they're working on. They don't have a number in their head that they want to hit, right? Hey, Marika. So what is that for you? Let's start with that first, right? What is it for you? Do you have a weight goal? Do you have a health goal? Like, I just want to feel more vibrant and energized, and I just want to feel healthy overall. Like, what is your goal, right? What is it that you're working on? Because if that's not even in your on your mind, like if you don't even have, something that you're focusing on, then it's going to be harder to hit it, right? What is your nutrition goal? What do you want your nutrition to look like? So give yourself a second to think about that. How do I want nutrition to fit into my lifestyle? What is that goal for you? For you, is it that you want to be able to manage your sugar? Is it that you want to be able to manage alcohol? Is it that you want to be able to eat, go out to a restaurant and know what to eat, right? Hey, Edith. Edith says 2 more sizes. Let's see. Oh, shoot, it just scrolled up. I can't see it. All right, I'll look back on there. But basically, you want to know what your goal is and then set up those SMART goals that we talked about. I've talked about SMART goals a bunch of times in the group, right? So whatever the goal is, whether it's to go down a dress size or it's to hit a certain weight or to be able to eat well 5 days out of the week, right? Or is it to have better hydration, better sleep, whatever the thing is, you want to do the SMART goals for it. So I won't go into the whole thing for SMART goals, but you want it to be specific. You want to have measurable data for it. You want it to be achievable. You want it to be a relevant goal that's going to make a big difference for you. And you want to put a time around it. Like, I want to get this done in 3 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. You want to put a time on it and then hit that deadline. By when, right? Edith, you know all about by when, right? So you want to have a by when. So think about your nutrition right now. What does that look like for you? Because nutrition is the biggest problem for a lot of people. It's the biggest challenge. You could work out every single day. If your nutrition is crappy, you're not going to see the results you want. So that's why I want to talk about nutrition today. Edith said yes. Yes. So you want to have that time in your mind, like, okay, when am I going to complete this goal? So let's talk directly about nutrition right now, because that's what this talk is about. I kind of, brought a few other goals into it because it really should be a holistic approach. It shouldn't just be, you're dialed into one thing and then everything else is a mess, right? It should be a holistic approach where you're working on your movement, you're working on your sleep, you're working on your hydration, you're working on your sleep hygiene, you're working on your time management, you're working on your self-care, you're working on your nutrition. Yes? Hey, Dawn. So it needs to be a holistic way of doing this so it becomes a way of being. It's just who you are now. It's just what you do, right? All right. So what we're going to do, let's see. Dawn says good morning. Sharon says go continue. Okay, weight control and improvement of body fat. Got it. Okay. So that's awesome that you know that, because then you can track it. Right? Once you know what your goal is, then you want to have measurable data to track it. How am I doing? Right? Every 3 to 4 weeks, how are my measurements looking? Right? How's my weight looking? Is it trending down? Right? So it's good to know what the goal is and then backtrack from there. All right? Sharon knows this. She's already worked with me. She knows the deal. Okay. So let's talk about nutrition. Let's specifically talk about your macros. A lot of people hear macros, they may not know what it means, right? So that's macronutrients. So the 3 big food groups, right? Your carbohydrates, your proteins, your fats. That's what macros are, right? I've talked about this in some of my previous trainings, but I'll briefly go over it here so we can get really deeper into the food choices, because I feel like the food choices is where people really fall off, because they know that you have some carbs, they know that you have some fat, right? You need some fat. You need carbs, you need protein, you need all of it, right? So when you starve yourself, prevent yourself from eating one part of those 3, you really, going to be affecting how your body mechanism works, right? All the metabolism, all the metabolic processes that are going on in your body require all of these things. So you need some carbs, but you want it to be complex carbs, right? The issue is what type of carbs. You need protein, but you want it to be the right protein, right? You can have protein, but it can come from bad sources. Hey, Heather. So that's the thing. You want to make sure that whatever the food groups are that you're choosing, that you're making, the options that you're going for are going to be beneficial, right? If I'm eating a carb, I want that carb to have, a good source of fiber. Sometimes we don't talk about fiber a lot, but you really want to get all your fiber in, as much of your fiber as you can get from your foods, you want to get them in, right? So when you're doing your veggies, which we're going to talk about right now, we're going to talk about portioning, how your plate should look. And then that'll also go into what should go into each of those categories for your carbs, for your protein, and for your fats. So fiber is going to fill you up, right? If you have foods that are rich in fiber, not only is it going to fill you up, but all that, like if you're doing dark leafy greens, it's going to sweep through your colon, right? It's your natural detox. I know you see all these things on the internet about detox tea, this and detox that. You want to get your detox from your food. Let that clean you out, right? So if you have more roughish, if you have more leafy veggies, if you have a lot of chlorophyll in the foods that you're eating, so green stuff, right? Something that's going to go through your colon, right? And sweep out all those little pockets of, a lot of times in your colon, there's, little ballooning of the wall, right? The wall balloons out and there's just pockets of stool just sitting there. So you need to eat stuff that's going to sweep all of that out. So that's your natural way of detoxing your colon, right? So the foods really do make a difference. The food is truly your medicine. When you get that piece down, then everything else, is just easier to manage. So let's talk about the macros. You got your carbs, right? For most people, like the people that I work with in my coaching program, hey, Dorima, we set up their meal plan. Each person has a different meal plan, right? A customized plan. So depending on where you started, like if you already are eating 2,200 calories a day, I'm not going to tell you, hey, go from 2,200 calories a day down to, 1,400. That's too drastic, right? And it's not going to be sustainable for you. So everybody's going to be different. So depending on what you're currently doing is, hey, Crystal, is where really we're going to start from and then sort of slowly taper you down, right? So this is kind of a general, talk I'm doing, so I don't know specifically for each of you what you're currently eating, but let's just say you were eating 1,800 calories a day, right? If you're eating 1,800 calories a day and we're trying to bring you down to like say 1,500 calories, and you can truly do a 1,500 calorie meal and be full. I do 1,500 calories a lot. Like sometimes I'll change it, go up or down a little, but it's doable. 1,500 calories, it's doable. And you just have to structure it so you know how much you're eating in each category. So let's just say, for example, you did 130 grams of carbs per day, right? Hey, Rashonda, let's say you did 130 grams of carbs per day. What would that look like? What it would look like is you would have to start tracking it, right? You don't have to track it forever, but you want to track it at least a few days to know, okay, what does 130 grams of carbs per day look like in my meal plan? So you'll do, for your carbs, you can do, say for breakfast, you can choose the carb to be a multigrain toast, right? Multigrain toast most times will give you maybe 17, 18 grams. Hey, Marilyn, might give you 17, 18, grams of carbs in that one toast, right? But if you add some jelly on that, that's going to give you sugar and carbs, like depending on what you put on it, right? So you want to, basically for your breakfast, you want to see how much carbs are you having there. Then if you do oatmeal, right? Say you did maybe 3/4 of a cup of oatmeal or half a cup of oatmeal. Then you know how many grams of carbs is in this, right? So just so that you have this sort of overall view of what you're eating. So it's not to be carb counting every day. It's just to know what it is. Because once you know it, you know it. You don't have to keep doing it over and over. So you just do it for a few days and you put it in maybe MyFitnessPal or Noom or LifeSum or one of these, food diary apps. You put it in there. You see, okay, I had, a veggie omelet, right? Maybe I did scrambled eggs. You see how much protein is in that. You see how much fat is in that, right? Then you kind of know at the end of that breakfast, okay, this is what I had for breakfast. I had maybe a side salad. I had my veggie omelet, or I didn't have a salad, but I put the veggies in the omelet, right? So I had my veggie omelet, I had my multigrain toast, and I had a cup of Greek yogurt, right? And I had some green tea or my coffee. So if you do something like that, and that's your breakfast, then you want to know what your macros are for that breakfast. How many grams of carbs was in this? How many grams of protein was in this? How many grams of fat was in this? Then you do the same thing for lunch. You do the same thing for dinner, right? So if you did lunch, you could do, say, for example, for your protein, if you did turkey or fish or chicken or some kind of a meat, maybe, bison, buffalo, people eat all kinds of different meats, right? Or just regular beef. If that's your protein, then you want to know how much do I need of that to be able to hit. Most times for lunch, I want to hit like 30 to 40 grams of protein in my lunch, right? Because typically for my macros, I want at least 100 grams of protein. So if you're going to get 100 grams of protein a day, if that's what you're shooting for, you got to be hitting at least 30 grams of protein for breakfast, for lunch, and for dinner, right? That's the only way you're going to hit 100. So that always has to be in your mind, like how many grams of protein is in this. It's not forever, but you're doing it so that you know, okay, this plan works for me. I can do this repeatedly. I can eat this for breakfast repeatedly. Then you do the same thing for lunch and dinner. You have your little go-to things, right? For my protein, I can either do fish, chicken, turkey, I can do lean turkey breast, chicken breast, right? So you have your list of go-to things. And that's how I work with people in my coaching group, is we have basically what do you like? And then we create something around what you enjoy eating. Either we talk about the portions, right? If it's something that you like, hey, Sean, if it's something that you like that's high fat, then we talk about how can you still have a little bit of that without feeling, deprived. So we really work it so that it's foods you like to eat. And then there may be some things we just have to get rid of because it's just not helping you at all, right? So that's the way you want to do it, is you want to look at every meal you have and literally get geeky about it. Break it down. What's in what I'm eating? How many grams of sugar? How many grams of carbs? How many grams, you know what I mean? So you want to go down the whole list. And if you don't know how to interpret it, sometimes it can be challenging, but that's what we do, right? We go, if I'm working with you and you're in your coaching session, I literally go in, we open up MyFitnessPal, we look at what you've put in there, and we dissect it. We break it down into, okay, this is working for you, this is not working for you, pull this out, substitute it with this other food, item. So we literally work through it so that over time, we're working it out so it becomes something you can just repeat. It'll just be on rinse and repeat because you figured it out, right? You figured it out. And let's see, Dawn said, how do you know? Hold on, let's see if I can see this here. I skipped it. How do you know the amount? I'm trying to read it, Dawn. How do you know the amount of macros you should have? Okay, so that's actually, hold on one second, guys. I think I messed up my, I don't know what I did here. I was trying to read it. I think I messed it up. Can you guys see me okay? Because I'm looking left-sided right now. So tell me if you can still see me okay. All right, cool. Because the way I'm seeing it, it looks like it's on it's like sideways. All right. So how do you know how many macros? The macros really depends on what you want your total calories for the day to be, right? So if you're trying to lose weight and you're doing, say, 200 calories a day, and you're not burning as much, which was the next thing I was going to talk about, your calories in versus your calories out. Right? So if you're not burning enough calories and expending enough calories and you're bringing a lot more calories in than you're putting out, you're not going to lose weight. So that also matters. So if you're trying to figure out what your macros should be, then you need to actually look at what you are putting out, how much you're putting out, and how much you're taking in. So say, for example, and where you're starting, like I said from the beginning. So if you're starting with 2,000, you can bring your macros down to, 1,700, 1,600, and then create a meal plan that will hit that number, because I'll show you how to calculate it in a second. So then you hit that number and you see, if you're able to, if it's sustainable for you. Because for some people to go down to 1,600 may be, drastic. So see if you can do that, and then see how much you can also burn. So your calorie output, right? How much you're putting out with your movement, with your exercise, all of that is going to matter as well. That's how you're going to see the weight loss, is by burning more, expending more energy, and then reducing your caloric intake. So to answer the question, it really depends on where you began and how we're going to taper it down. So if you started at 1,800, we can bring you down to 1,600. We can bring you down to 1,500, and then create a meal plan that would fit that number. So let me tell you how you do that. So say, for example, you want to hit macros of 1,500, right? Then you have to actually say, okay, how many grams it's going to be from protein? How many grams it's going to be from fat? How many grams it's going to be from carbs? So then you do the math. So to figure it out, you have to do math, right? So what you do, let's just say, for example, if you said, I'm going to do 140 grams of carbs, then you'll take that 140 grams of carbs, multiply it by 4 calories, right? Each gram of carb is going to give you 4 calories. So you take that 140, you multiply it by 4, all right? It'll give you a number. That's your total calories per day coming from carbs, okay? If you do the protein and you say, okay, I'm going to do 120 grams of protein a day. Again, protein gives you 1 gram of protein gives you 4 calories. So you are going to do 120 times 4. All right. That'll give you the total number of calories coming from protein for the day. Then you're going to do your fat. So you could say, okay, I'm going to do 50 grams of fat. I'm just arbitrarily coming up with these numbers because it has to be done per person, right? It has to be customized to you. So if you say I'm going to do 50 grams of fat per day, each gram of fat is going to give you 9 calories. So then it'll be 50 times 9. All right. So those 3 numbers, those 3 products, right? The multiplication of each of those, you're going to add it all up And then that total is going to be your total intake for the day. Okay, that's going to be your total intake for the day. So tell me, can you guys, am I still upright? Can you, because my screen looks lopsided now that I'm looking at it. So I want to make sure that it's showing up properly for you guys. You can see me upright. Yes. Okay. So that's how you create your, okay, thank you. That's how you create your macros. Okay. So you know that you're hitting that number. So say, for example, you do your calculations and it's a little short, right? Maybe you want to hit 1,500, but it came out 1,485 when you did the calculations. It's fine, right? It doesn't have to be specific, like on the dot. So if it's like 1,495, then in your mind, you just know roughly, okay, I just got to keep my protein around 110, 120, right? I just got to keep, so you would just know the general, number of where each of those macros should be. And that's what you want to do. None of this ever should be like, so, like you don't want to stress yourself about it. It's just guidelines, right? It's just guidelines. So you don't want it to be on your mind to the point that it stresses you out. You just kind of want to know, okay, if I eat this and I eat this and I eat this, and I have this particular layout of my meals for the day, this is generally how it's going to look. And that's something you can then repeat and just kind of substitute things. So instead of having salmon one day, you can change the salmon out and put cod, right? And I'll talk about that in a second. Because let me talk about it now, actually. So fish, that's an awesome source of protein, right? It's an awesome source of protein, but fish can vary wildly in calories. Like cod could be 80 calories for a serving of cod, whereas salmon could be 250 calories for a serving of salmon, right? Sea bass could be 230 calories for a serving of sea bass. But then you could have something like orange roughy or trout, right? A flounder, that's only like 100 calories. So that's what you want to do when it comes to nutrition. You want to make the choices that would be in alignment with the goal that you're going for. Okay? So you can still have the salmon, but you can't have it every day because it's just a fattier fish, right? You have to choose the leaner options that will still give you the protein and still give you the nutrients you want, but just be lower calorie so that you can be able to hit your goal. Okay? So that's what I wanted to come in and really highlight. Is when you're doing your macros, the reason you want to do your macros and calculate it and look at it and see what you're eating is it's eye-opening. It shows you what you're doing every day. It shows you where you're going wrong. It shows you where you're going right. And then you can tweak it and be like, okay, this thing had too much sugar in it. I see that now, like my Starbucks drink. I see now because I wrote it down. I see how much sugar is in it. So I get to change that. All right. I had a burger from wherever. Now I see how much fat is in that. Now I get to change that. I had something from Panera Bread. It had too much fat in it. Now you know what I mean? So when you write it down and you look at it, literally just for a couple of days, it doesn't have to be forever. But if you write it down and you see what's in what you're eating, it's going to blow your mind. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is why I can't lose weight, because the things I'm eating is not helping me. Right. And then you get to structure it in a way. And if you get to structure it in a way so that it now works for you. You're still eating delicious meals. Hey, Lillian, you're still eating delicious meals. You're still eating healthy foods. You're eating foods that are giving you amazing, nutrients. Right? But now it's less fat, it's less calories. It's, you're just making better choices. You're getting your fiber, you're getting your protein, and now you know what to eat to hit those numbers. So that's the big part of this that I wanted to bring to you, is knowing what to eat. Then the next one is when to eat, right? What should you have when? Okay. Let's see here. Edith said, especially when you think you're eating healthy. Exactly. You may think that, what you're having is good, but if you break it down and look what's in it, look at how much sugar is in it. Look at how much sodium is in it, right? Look at how much fat is in it. So you really want to look at the breakdown of what you're eating. When you get that clear, boom, it's like game changer. Okay. So that's what I want to tell you, is really go down to break it down to the macros. and see how many grams look at the fiber, look at the carbohydrates, look at the protein, look at the fat, look at the sugar, look at the added sugar, right? That's a big one, especially with the drinks, right? A lot of the drinks, the Starbucks drinks, the sodas, the soft drinks, the alcohol, all those things have a ton of sugar and carbs. It's like hidden. It's in there. You're not thinking about it, but that's what's shooting you in the foot, right? Okay, so that's what I wanted to really highlight, is really breaking down the macros and understanding it on a granular level. That's gonna be so good for you to understand food, okay? So let's talk about what goes on the plate. Portions. You want to have at least 45 to 50% of your plate be veggies. I know that sounds like a lot, but you really do. You want to have veggies. I would say veggies and fruit, maybe 10% of that be fruit, but you really want veggies to be a major portion of your plate. Then you want to have about 30% of your plate be your protein, and then like 15 to 20% of that plate be your carbs, right? So really, you want to make sure you're getting a good amount of protein, a good amount of veggies. Remember, the veggies have carbs in it too, right? But it's not going to be as much carbs in your veggies as you're going to have in your starches. So say, for example, for your starch, which will be in that 20%, roughly 20% part of your plate, you want it to be a complex carb. You want it to be something like brown rice, sweet potato, Yukon potato, red potatoes, something that has fiber, right? Remember, I'm talking about fiber again. You want to get your fiber in. All right. So you don't want it to be processed foods. You don't want it to be something, that's, coming in a package that's not made for, it's not a meal plan, right? You guys know I talk about trifecta all the time. The reason I like that company is because the meal plan is, number one, organic. It's meant for athletes. The macros are great. Okay. I do the paleo plan. I love it. I've been doing it, 3 years now. And it's really good for people who are looking to manage their weight. Some of the other plans out there I've tried, and their food is delicious, but the macros are way off. I mean, they're giving you a 900 calorie meal, right? So when you're getting your meal plan, if you're getting that, make sure the macros are good. If you're preparing the meal at home, right, which is a good way to make sure you're getting what you need, is to prep. If you're preparing it at home, look at what you're preparing. What's my protein? Always run this through your mind. What's my protein? What's my carb? What's my fat? Right? What in what I'm eating is going to be the fat source? What in what I'm eating is going to be the protein source? Where's my carbs coming from? So that it's balanced, right? That's what you want to do. So when you get educated on what the foods are, then even if you go to the restaurant, you can do the same thing there. You can ask them, hey, instead of getting the potatoes, can I get a double order of veggies, right? You can ask for that. So you can ask for 2 orders of veggies and 1 order of protein, and then take the carbs out, right? Take the starch out. And then maybe that leaves room for you to have a dessert. Do you see what I mean? So that's how you want to do it, so that you're controlling, the carbs, you're controlling the sugar. Okay, so that's what you want to do. So when you do your plate, you want to have your veggies on there. If you do fruit, you want to have low glycemic fruit. So things like berries, right? Apples, that would be fine. Pieces of apple, pieces of strawberries, raspberry, blackberries, anything like that. All right. So that's how you want to do it. All right. So let's see. Sean says she's trying to eat less meat. How do I get my appropriate amount of protein? And you're allergic to shellfish? Okay, great question. How do you get your protein if you're not eating meat? Now, I don't know if you can do other types of fish. You can do shellfish, but can you do regular fish, right? If you could do regular fish, that would be the way to go. You could do, like I've mentioned before, some of the fish are more calories than others. Some are fattier than others. So you have to choose. You could do the lean fish some days, and you can do the fattier fish some days, but just be mindful which ones will give you more calories. Another place you can get protein, beans will give you protein. Lentils, things like lentils, edamame, Greek yogurt, protein shakes, right? Most protein shakes will give you about 25 grams of protein. So you can do that. So those will be other sources that you can get your protein from. I don't know if you can do scallops, things like scallops. If you can do that, that would be another place to do it from. So fish could potentially be a way to get it in as well. Plus the protein shake, your yogurt, your cottage cheese, some of your snacks and things like that can be sources of protein as well. Eggs, right? If you do eggs will give you protein. So even some of your veggies have protein. Broccoli has protein, right? So you literally can go on Google and say, other protein sources other than meat, right? And you'll get a list of things, and that's how you can still get your protein in. So you definitely can still do it without the meat. Okay, so going back to the portions, you want to make sure your veggies are a major part of the plate. 45 to 50% of your plate should be the veggies and the little, and fruit. Then you want to do about 30% protein, 20% carbohydrates. Okay, when you break down the carbs, you want it to be complex carbs, like I said. So your multigrain toast, your multigrain English muffin, your oatmeal, your sweet potato, your quinoa, right? Quinoa is going to give you protein too, but it's got a good amount of carbs. So you got to know that going in. Beans will give you proteins, but they have carbs. So you got to know that going in, right? So you got to know what you're eating. That's the point of all of this. Know what you are eating. Once you get that, it's going to make things so much easier for you to plan. And then that's the next part, planning it. Plan it. Prep your meals. Plan at the beginning of the week what you're going to eat, right? Plan what your lunches are going to look like. Plan what your breakfast is going to look like. Batch cook. Cook things in batches and save it, right? So that you know exactly what you're eating. You can literally plot it in your MyFitnessPal ahead of time and see what it looks like and see if you're hitting your goals, right? So that's what you want to do. You want to do the portion control. You want to do the meal prepping and planning. You want to understand your macros like down to the T. Like you really want to know the macros well. If any of this is something you still need support around, let me know, right? You guys already know I give you an opportunity to get on a phone call with me so we can chat about the things that are challenging for you and see if you need support around them, right? So at the end of this, I'm going to put the link on the bottom for you guys to make your call, right? If you want to book a session with me, I call it your fitness breakthrough session, right? So if you want to have a fitness breakthrough session with me, go ahead and schedule it. I'll put the link. But the last thing I want to talk about is your gut health, okay? Gut health. So what are you doing for your gut health? You can do all of these things. If your gut health is poor, if you're eating things that are inflammatory, if you're not doing proper probiotics, right, and prebiotics, some of the foods that we eat naturally have prebiotics, which will allow our gut to make its own probiotic, right? That's what a prebiotic is. It's sort of like the precursor to what your body needs to produce its own probiotic, okay? You need that. Because you need to have proper digestion, you need to improve your immunity, but when you have better gut health, it improves your immunity, right? Because about 70% of your immune cells are actually in your intestinal tract. So I wanted to end with the gut health piece because gut health has been linked to improvement in chronic diseases, improvement in autoimmune diseases. So many chronic diseases, or when you improve your gut health, you see improvements in those areas as well. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk about. So figure out what it is that you're using for a probiotic every day. You should be on a probiotic every day, all right, for your gut health. If you're not, then you want to get one. There's some of them that are over the counter. You guys know I always talk about my NeuroFit. I love it. I've been on it for a couple of years now, and I love it because it's not just a prebiotic and probiotic, but it also has a fat burner in there. It also gives you your collagen. It also gives you, a gentle cleanse, right? It also gives you a sleep aid. So that's why I love it because it's comprehensive. It's got multiple things in it, in addition to the probiotics. All right. So I will also put the link for that. If you're interested in getting the NeuroFit, you can get it. I'll put the link as well after this talk. But you want to make sure that you're having anti-inflammatory foods every day. That needs to be how you're eating. and improve the lining in your intestines so that you have more absorption of the foods you're eating, right? If your lining is poor and your gut health is poor, you can eat all the good stuff, but it's just going to go right through you, right? You want to make sure your gut health is improved and the lining of your intestinal tract is improved so you get better absorption of the nutrients so that you're getting more of what you're eating absorbed so your body can actually use it for what it's meant to use it for. Okay, so that's it. I'm done. I'm going to show you guys what the NeuroFit looks like. All right, so let's see if I can show you here. I don't know if you can see it. All right, so this is what the box looks like. It's one of the boxes. All right, and it shows you on the side. It tells you, this is the collagen box. This is your pre and probiotic box. Okay, and then this one is the one with the gentle cleanse. All right. So that's it. If you have any questions, put it in the chat and I'll come back and answer them. Thanks for the hearts. All right. I'm Dr. Diana Lake. As I said before, I'm the creator of this group and I am the founder of Dr. Di Fitness. I'm an emergency medicine physician. I'm also a mom to 2 boys, and I'm a fitness and weight loss coach and a menopause wellness expert. So I help women, successful women who are challenged with managing their weight, get fit, fierce, and fabulous. Okay, thanks for the hearts, guys. So I help you get fit, fierce, and fabulous. I help you go from feeling drained, exhausted, overwhelmed to energized, fit, fierce, healthy. All right. So if that's what you want, if this feels like, you need more information about it or you just want more support, it's February. We're going into March. Don't go into this slump, guys. Don't go into the slump of falling off track. So I want to support you. And if you feel like you can, you would benefit from it, go ahead and book the call. I'll put the link right now. And I will talk to you guys later. Have an awesome weekend. Bye.